Let's bring in CNBC contributor Tom Lee of Fundstrat Global Advisors. Tom, it's good to see you. Welcome. You've heard the conversation. Why don't you weigh in? Is it time to get a little more bullish or not?
I think it's time to get bullish. Stocks really have been consolidating for the last couple of months, and I think the conversation you had is correct. You know, the data has not convinced hawks or doves which way inflation's breaking, and I think once we get a decisive data point, and potentially it's tomorrow, I think that $6 trillion of cash comes off the sidelines, and I think stocks break out of this range. And I mean, that's our bet that, you know, May ends up being a very strong month for stocks, even better than it's been already.
What's this rally about? Why don't you tell me in your own words what you think this is about? Why did we rebound so quickly, and why are we now on the doorstep of a new closing high for the S&P?
Well, I think that markets kind of had a very sort of simple framework in their head, which is as soon as inflation accelerates, the Fed switches from dove to hawk and tries to crush the economy. And I think Powell's been very clear in all of his recent statements that, look, inflation is not just this core headline number, and it's not just a services number. It's these three moving pieces: housing, auto insurance, and everything else. And they've been playing a waiting game. We're seeing that even in some of the recent articles, and Powell talked about it, and a lot of folks are talking about auto insurance. I think once that turns, and it possibly, because if you look at PPI, insurance actually rolled over pretty hard. I think it's going to make it clear to markets that it's not just a, hey, inflation is stubborn. It's really this, inflation is now normalizing. The economy's in good shape, and rates are so restrictive, the Fed actually needs to cut rates, and that's actually quite good for stocks. And look, if it's a pause, actually it's good for stocks. If it's a cut, I think it's even better.
I mean, I was looking at the sector activity today, Tom. I mentioned at the top of the program, you know, up volume was way outpacing down. Even earlier today, when it was hard to get much, if anything, going, there was only maybe one or two sectors that were green. Now almost everything is green. You know, tech is having a great session here. That is now, you know, leading the way. A lot of the names there are green. What are we to make of this new closing high for NASDAQ, especially after some of the rollover that we saw, you know, in the month of April in those names?
I think it's really good news. I think a lot of folks thought this was a ninth inning market expansion or, you know, an extended rally, but I think the revival of meme stocks and the fact that there's still a huge amount of cash that's been accumulating on the sidelines in the last couple of weeks shows you, look, I think there's still a lot of legs to this rally. That's why I think May could not only be strong, but of course, as you know, stocks can do very well into year end.